backdrop. So that's what we're doing. All right, we're going to do that. And let me hit record here. All right, y'all. Yep, recording in progress. So we're back. This is the HBCU Daily Grind. My name is Omar Muhammad, helping you improve and progress in business and in life. And as always, we have a special guest. However, before we get to our special guest, let me kind of give out all the information. So this is Beyond the Yards. So we bring on entrepreneurs, of course, HBCU alum entrepreneurs to share their story. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all at HBCU by Association. Yep, HBCU by Association. Our website is the same, HBCU by association.com. And if you want to email us, just shoot me an email, info@hbcubyAssociation.com. And with that said, we'll go to our special guest, Antionette Blank. How are you?
I am great, Omar. And first and foremost, thank you so very much for inviting me onto your platform this evening.
Thank you. I'm anxious to learn about what you do. But before we do that, we're going to do some school stuff first. You got to give a shout out on where you come from and what was your major at that university.
All right, great. All right, so I am shouting out the illustrious Delaware State University. However, I am a proud graduate of Delaware State College, class of 83, wow, majoring in elementary education.
Interesting. So it was a college where you were there, and now it's a university. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, good deal. So I always start off with this. I think that at all HBCUs, there are 4 quadrants, and they just happen to spell out HBCU. So let me know if one or all 4 of them resonate with you. So the first one is homecoming. So the H is for homecoming. The B is for Black excellence. The C is for clubs and organizations. And the U is for some type of united place, united front on campus. What resonates with you? I saw you shake your head with all of them, so I guess I'm gonna get a dose.
All of them, Omar. You know all of them. All of them. So first of all, let's start with H. Okay, H, homecoming. So when I was a student at Del State, homecoming was the place to be. I mean, that was the weekend that everyone connected. It's a family feeling, but that's when you brought your friends, your besties, your bae, your boo, and you just shined. So homecoming was always that great, the football games and, being students, out of the classroom. Then when you graduate, you look forward to going back to the homecoming to see how everybody's doing, got married, had kids, gained weight, lost weight, got a business, didn't have a business. And now as an older alum who is now the recording secretary for the Alumni Association, homecoming is hard work. That's what the H stands for now, because we are so involved in it. Yes. But something that's never changed was the fun, the friendship, and the fellowship. It's like, with a Black family reunion. Homecoming is our family reunion. And, you laugh, you cry, you hug, you kiss, and it's like all the family is back. So homecoming, at an HBCU is unlike anything that anyone has ever experienced in their life if they did not attend an HBCU. Now, Black excellence. Oh yeah, B. That is where, and I even still to this day, I think back to the professors in the college. It's like you were home, like your professors embraced you in excellency. They made you feel like you were wanted, you were needed, and that you were gonna, leave the yard and go on and do something great. And it's just a feeling, that not only just that family feeling, but that feeling of they want you to succeed and they're gonna help you do it. And that is such an important feeling, because some of kids come from broken homes. Like me, I was raised by my grandmom, so I didn't have like the mother, the father. I was actually the very first one to graduate from college, so I didn't have any body that pushed me or understood what I was doing. So that Black excellence, that B, is very, very vital. It's like no matter where you come from, you can make it for whatever you're going, to do in life. The C. All right, let's see. I'm gonna shout them out. My sorors, Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Right. I just celebrated my 41st Sigmaversary. I am still active with the Mu Psi Sigma chapter here in Middletown, Delaware. But I pledged Sigma Gamma Rho. I crossed Spring 81. I really wasn't involved in any other clubs. I was a commuter the first year, so I was part of the commuting clubs. But the sorority, the pledging, I hung out with all, all the Divine Nine before they were Divine Nine. Matter of fact, I married a Q. I gave birth to a Q. So it's Q's and Sigmas in there. So that was great. I was a Hornet Honey, which all I did was pose for football brochure for one homecoming. It wasn't really a club or anything. So those are the only clubs that I think I was part of. And then the last one, it brings a smile to my face, the U. Where we united. Yeah. Yes. So I was thinking about this today, and I think about it every time I go back on the yard, how it was really open, but the one place that everyone congregated outside of homecoming on the plots, obviously, was at the Student Center, the MLK Student Center. And if a certain person is listening, he's going to know who he is. But I always have this story that at the time that the MLK building was built, it had a wall, those half walls where everybody would kind of sit and, profiling and styling and talking and walking and all that. And I'll never forget sitting on that wall, trying to be cute, all of 110 pounds at that time, in my Jordache jeans. And someone came up to me, a guy came up to me and hugged me, and we both toppled off the wall onto the ground. Now, it was only 2 feet, but that was embarrassing. So those are my memories for HBCU. He shouldn't have. I don't know where he is to this day.
Well, we definitely appreciate you on that. So your major was not in the School of Business, but it was in education, right?
No,
so it's interesting.
It was no, go ahead.
No, go. You go. So it wasn't in education. It was where? What was?
No, it was education, elementary education.
Oh. Okay. So I'm just saying, oftentimes people think that all the entrepreneurs are coming from the School of Business. And it's never the case. Entrepreneurs are coming from all over campus, right? And you're a perfect example of that. So what really led you into entrepreneurship?
Omar, that's a great question. Because again, during my time at Del State, there wasn't anything called entrepreneurship. It was, business with education, nursing, the basics, right? It was, the basics. And the reason why I chose education was my guidance counselor at the time of high school. She came to me and said, Antionette, the state, and there's all kinds of grants and the Pell Grant and scholarships are available for people who want to go to Delaware State College and major in education. And Omar, I was not thinking about going to college, but if you were going to pay for it, because my family wouldn't have been able to afford it. So if you were going to pay for it, why wouldn't I take that advantage, to do that? And I had always loved to teach. Even as a little kid, I loved teaching. People that know me remember I have these pictures of me with books and stuff. So I love to teach and always been teaching. And we're going to, come back to the fact that I am now teaching, but in a whole different way. But teaching elementary education, I did the whole classroom thing, and trust and believe, if it was no joke back then either, and neither was the pay. And so I did not stick with, I loved and I wanted to teach, and it's always been in my heart to teach, but the salary, I'm going to give you those numbers. So for all these young people out there saying they're not making bank, my salary after 4 years of Delaware State College with a BS degree in elementary education was $12,145. That was my salary, $12,145. Remember that number.
Wow.
That I couldn't eat. I had an apartment, I had car payments. I couldn't afford anything. So what I decided to do was I was going to go back to New York because that's where I'm originally from. And I decided to go back to New York for the summer to make some money, so that I could, have some pocket change and pay off all those credit cards that I had graduated with, right? So I went to New York, and long story short, I ended up being hired by IBM. So I did 32 years in corporate America. I like to say that I was 32 years on the plantation. Anytime that you go someplace where they can tell you what time to be there, what time you can leave, when you can go to lunch, when you can go on vacation, and how much they're going to pay you, that is more than just a job. But I did what I did because I had to do what I was doing, right? So fast forward now, I did not become an entrepreneur until I was laid off after those 32 years. And I decided that at the age of 50, 55, that I was going to become an encore entrepreneur. And that's anyone over the age of 50 that decides to start over and start a business. So that's, long story, even longer, was how I went from being a teacher to an entrepreneur, because social media was relatively low on my radar. And I didn't even have a MySpace account. I did have a Black Planet account. I probably still have it out there, but social media wasn't even on the radar, but I loved it. So I started teaching it, and I started teaching others how to blog, how to vlog, how to do all these things in social media. Hence, that's how I started my business, A. Blake Enterprises, by managing the social media accounts for businesses that had no idea how to do it.
Wow. So how did you hop into social media though?
Okay, it was actually it was really a way to fill a void. I started my first blog in 2012 because I love to write. I mean, as a teacher, you like to write, right? And I still like to write longhand. But my grandma, who I alluded to earlier in the program, she was the one who had raised me. And she, I raised her until she passed away at the age of 98. And she was my rock. And she raised my sister and myself, Gloria, who unfortunately was killed in a car accident in 1992. So after I didn't have that, and I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I don't do all the girlfriend things. But after I lost my grandma, I felt like I had all this time on my hands. And my sons were growing up, and hubby and I will be married 32 years this year. So everything is cool on the home front, but I was like, what am I going to do? So I started writing. And so I took to Facebook. I found out, what's this Facebook? What is this Facebook, right?
Hey, the Facebook or Facebook?
The Facebook. It was the
Facebook. That is funny. We know what you meant though.
No, it was. That was what people said. The Facebook. Are you on the Facebook? Yeah, and I'm like, what the heck? It's the Facebook.
Yeah, you just can't say it now.
But no, please. I just, first of all, you already know that I'm, of a particular age. But but I loved social media, and I felt that my target would be people of my age, the boomers and beyond, that had businesses, but they knew advertising and marketing and branding via, newsprint, TV ads, radio ads, flyers. And so social media was very unique. You remember, this was I was on the pager. I was on, I had the first big brick cell phone. I mean, this was all new. And because I loved it so much, and I really took to it because I like to write, it just kind of was a natural progression.
Wow. I mean, I love that story about, you were laid off, you had to find something, and you just happened to jump into this thing that, that's really taken over the whole world, and that's social media. And now you're also teaching that. You're teaching social media. I'm gonna let you talk because I don't want to mess it up, but I do want to acknowledge.
Okay, no problem.
She a podcaster as well. She got her mics. She got the buffer there. Look at you. So tell us about your business.
Thank you, Omar. I am the owner, the CEO, whatever you want to call the title, the founder of A. Blake Enterprises, social media marketing and consulting. I'm an award-winning blogger, podcast host, and coach. I am a professional speaker, educator, and of course, a wife and a mom. And as a social media diva, most people know me as the Delaware blogger, AKA the Delaware blogger, that, I teach people how to do a podcast now, because that's what's hot now. That's what's powerful. That's what's popping. And so, but I started teaching before that, teaching others how to start a blog. I was an adjunct at Del Tech for a minute pre-COVID. And so I literally had adult classes where people would come in and I would teach them how to start a blog, from, creating their why to actually getting it on WordPress and getting it out there. And so I was teaching. And so, obviously that was bringing in some money, but I also decided, hey, I can help others who may not want to learn how to market their business or brand themselves. I can do it myself. Because as a social media marketer, we know that, social media is here to stay. It's not going away. But people don't go to social media to be sold to. They go to socialize. So when you're out there marketing your brand, your product, your business, you have to do it in a manner that I always say, H to H, heart to heart. Because people, again, don't go to social media to be sold to, they go to socialize. They want to laugh, they want to cry, they want to commiserate, and then perhaps they'll buy. But it's about how you make them feel. And so when I take over a company or business or brand's Facebook, I do it that the posts are that, it's about their product and their brand, but it's also things that may be in concern for their target market audience, whether it's moms or dads or, whatever the case may be. So as a social media marketer, which is now my bread and butter, is where I literally take over the Facebook page or Twitter page or LinkedIn page of a business or brand to make sure that they're getting consistent content. And I'm doing it in a way that it's right and tight, because we know our brand is our bond and our bond is our brand, and it has to be right and tight.
I like that. So going back to blogging, I like the social media piece. So I guess people are still blogging. I remember taking a course where it's blogging for revenue. So are people still blogging for revenue? And how important is that to businesses?
Well, let's think about this for a minute. And that's another great question. If you're not, you should be. Why? Social media platforms are free platforms. You don't own them. They can come, they can go, they can be bought, they can be sold. Look, we're seeing what's happening today with Twitter, right? We don't know what's going to happen if they make a change. I've been going through problems with Facebook since they turned to since they turned to metaverse, right? So if you build your product, your business, your brand on a free platform, and that free platform goes away, goes down, changes hands, Mark might say, look, I'm giving up Facebook, then where does your business go? Bye-bye. Yeah. So you have to have a way to connect with your clients and your customers. And a blog is a great way to do so. Now, people say, well, I got a website. Well, yeah, mostly everyone has a website, but it's static. It doesn't change. What do you change? Every once in a while, you might change the dates or the times, or, maybe you're going on holiday, but a blog is living. It is forever changing. And we know about search engine optimization, right? Those Google bots want to see that activity, just like with a podcast. Yeah. You got to be active. You got to get it out there, because Google is only going to put forth the best information for that requester. And if you've got a website that no one knows about, unless they know the business, then they don't see that. Right. They don't see any activity. So having a blog is still, yes, I think, is still very vital, because you own it. You can get into the email boxes of your clients if Facebook goes down.
Email is still alive.
Yeah, right? So yeah, the Delaware blog, I am blogging still. And what I'm doing, Omar, is I'm repurposing content. Yeah. So I'm repurposing my podcast. I'm going to repurpose this YouTube video onto my blog, because not everyone has time to watch, to take out time. They may be driving. They can't watch us at the park, but they can read about it later, watch it later, share it later, and it has a place to live forever. So if you research Omar Muhammad and Antionette Blake interview in 2024, and I've written about it, and it's in, it's on my book, guess what's going to pop up? That's going to pop up. This YouTube video will pop up too, but a Facebook post is not going to pop up. A Twitter tweet is not going to pop up. You got to have something to hold your content. So yeah, a blog is still very vital.
I'm glad you said all this. I share that with, people that I work with as well. So told y'all, listen, Antionette, she's the expert, on social media and blogging and all that good stuff. I should have said, we got a few minutes left, but give out your website and people could be looking at your website while we still talking.
Sure. My website is A Blake Enterprises. And if you're familiar with the Linktree, if you just do Linktree/A Blake Enterprises, it'll give you the links to every social media platform that I'm on, including my YouTube channel, my podcast as well. But it's A Blake Enterprises, A Blake with the E and Enterprises with the S. And my blog is delblogger.com.
I love it.
Del Blogger. That's
Del Blogger. So you're teaching people this now, and it's almost like your own university.
Any chance I get, Omar. Any chance I get.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because I guess that's where people are kind of confused. They're saying, is a blog really social media? Yes, it's social media is like the driver to your website, the driver to your brick and mortar, the driver to wherever you want them to go. The vehicles are taking them there. It could be a blog, it could be a vlog, it could be a YouTube video, it could be Twitter, it could be LinkedIn. So yes, these are all vehicles to get you to a source or a particular area. And not everyone likes to write. I know you got to like writing, right? Just like you got to like to be on camera if you want to do a vlog. So yeah, and there's so many options. I know, and you're so good at it. That's the great thing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I've been doing this. I did radio for 22 years here at Morgan. And, I started doing these years ago, even before the COVID hit. So yeah, now everybody named mother. As a matter of fact, I might get my mother to do a podcast.
we'll let her know. I have that 5-week coaching course.
There you go. Yes. All right. So let's go back to school. Let's go back to Delaware State.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to Delaware State as it relates to building economic empowerment entrepreneurs?
That's a great question. I know, 9 times out of 10, and it's a different world now. It's a different world with COVID, with students not being able to really get out and about, and they may feel isolated. It is kind of sad, like when we started the program, I was saying how that family feeling, whether it was your students and the professors and the coaches. And today when I go in the yard, I don't see that because we're so isolated. And that is so difficult that, our young generation may feel like, what, it's not even worth it. I'm just going to sit back here and do nothing. But you can't. You have to be able to, each generation gets wiser and weaker. Right now, they are walking around with this, right? There is dirty screen. Wow. You're walking around with a clean screen, hopefully. But there's power in here. There is so much power in social media, and it should be used for good. TikTok is fun, Facebook is fun, all that's fun. But right here will take you out of your comfort zone. This is global. This will take you to places that you may or may not ever be able to travel to. So use this. What is it that you're very passionate about, even beyond what you're in school for? What is it, because I know, God has given us this gift, right? He's given us this gift, and we have to take that gift and pay it forward. Like I always say that our gift from God is life, and what we do with that life is our gift back to him. So think about it, what it is that you want to do, whether it's elementary education, whether it's business administration, whether it's nursing, aviation, whatever it is. How can you take that, do well, and then give to someone else? like a give back. I'm not telling you to, volunteer and don't get paid for doing what you're doing and what you work so hard for, but think about, because a college degree is more than a piece of paper. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. It's like, oh my gosh, I have done something that not only am I proud of, my family proud of, my friends are proud of, but now I can take this and I can share it with someone coming up under me. I saw at homecoming, we were in the parade, and Omar, there were little tiny babies that were like, they're so excited to see these college students. Oh my, I could just see in their little brain going, that's what I want to be when I grow up. That's what I want to do when I grow up. So whatever it is, whatever your degree is, whatever you're there for, think about how it's going to help someone else, another cause, how you can take that and give back to your community, another community, generations. Again, I will be 61 this year and I am loving it. If anyone would have told me that I graduated, 40 years ago, almost 40 some years ago, that I would be here with you having this conversation, I would have been like, are you kidding me? I got a degree in education in 81, 83, but this is what my give back. Like, really, this is my give back. And what you're doing is a give back. Absolutely. So whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're isolated in your room, think beyond this. This too shall pass. This too shall pass.
That's right. Absolutely. All right. One final question, and that is, HBCUs, I'm a graduate of HBCU, you are as well. How has Delaware State helped you in business and in life?
That's
by being an HBCU
grad. Yeah. That's a really good question. And I'd say that Delaware State University was the foundation. It set me on a path to where I am right now. Had I not had the experience, the knowledge, the relationships, there's no telling. We could have a conversation on a whole total different topic, but I know Delaware State College, Delaware State University saved me. I was just transplanted from New York, plucked into, Dover, which was very racist. And I saw no future for me. I'm gonna be honest, I was engaged at 16. All I was gonna do is get married and have kids. But if I hadn't walked on that yard and experienced that family, knowing that I could be better, I was told I could be better then, I don't think I'd be here today. I really don't. And I wouldn't have married my husband because I wouldn't have met him, then I wouldn't have had another kid.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad you shared that with me. Many times, going to a HBCU, I hear that and hear it here on campus as well. My HBCU saved my life, if you will. So just hearing it over and over again, that's why it's important for HBCUs to exist. All right, let's bring it back down. All right, is there anything else you want to share with us before we end?
No, first and foremost, I want to say thank you again for sharing your platform. I want to thank Leah Williams, our DSUAA president, for connecting us together. Again, I do what I do because I love what I do. And I just want everybody to know, that remember, what you put out there, your brand is your bond is your brand. It's got to be right and tight. So it's not all fun and games. And, you got to make sure that, when you're out there and it's out there. So think about it. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing, right? You don't have to, hey, I just joined TikTok, but you'll never see me dancing. I'm gonna use it for my business. But again, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform this evening.
All right, good deal. Before we leave, give out your contact information once again.
Sure. If you like, if you use the hashtag Delaware Blogger, I'll pop up all over the place. But my website is ablakeenterprises.com. And my blog obviously is Del Blogger, but the Linktree ID is A Blake Enterprises.
All right, Antionette. Wow, thank you for coming on to the HBCU Daily Grind. Really appreciate the nuggets and you being, taking us back to Delaware State. Really appreciate it. All right, y'all. All right, to listen to past episodes of the HBCU. I got so many podcasts. I was about to say one of my other podcasts is to find out.
Oh, and that's what I meant to tell you. Don't forget my podcast too. I got a podcast. I got two podcasts. I'm sorry.
Tell them.
Podcast. I'm out and about with Antionette. I'm sorry. I love to talk so much. I forgot about my podcast. I have two podcasts, Out and About with Antionette. That's every Wednesday at 1. And then the Delaware Blogger podcast is every Saturday at 10, where I teach people how to start a podcast. Thank you.
Oh, that's all right. You can find more information about that on your website?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good deal. Well, to find past episodes of the HBCU Daily Grind, our website is hbcubyassociation.com. And we'll be back next week. And I also want to thank Mike Ballard for the beat that he provides for us. Until I see you next week, continue to improve and progress.